welcome to another fabulously tasty episode of The Cheese Hunters, coming to you live from the Queen Victoria Market Deli Hall, outside the fabulous Ripe Cheese Shop. Which brings me to my co-host. Oh, actually, I should say who I am. I'm Wendy Hargreaves. I'm the food writer who loves cheese, and my co-host, Hakim Halim, is Mr. Cheese. Come here.
Hey, Wendy.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
We've got some delicious cheese for you today. And as we know, for anyone who's rusted on to the Cheese Hunter TV series, we're all about finding the best cheese in the world and then finding Australian cheese that is as good, if not better.
Yes.
So we've talked about Dauphinoise and the fabulous local cheese that...
Grand Fleury from L'artisan the last time.
Yep. And now, as the clouds come over, it's suddenly got a little bit darker in here. There's no market today.
No.
We're here all by our lonesomes, because otherwise we would be stampeded for the fabulous cheese that we're about to taste. But this is how it works. We have 4 different tasting rules, categories.
Categories.
The first one is the pong
factor.
The pong. How much is a pong? Will it make your fridge melt? That sort of stuff. Or is it nice and gentle? The next one
It's the funk factor.
funk.
Is the taste.
Funk.
Is the taste of the cheese. Is it super funky? Is it super mild? Or is it interesting how weird it is?
Yeah. So does it explode in your mouth? That's the funk factor. What's the third one?
The third one is the wang factor.
He
Wendy?
doesn't say it right. Wank.
Wank.
It's wank.
Wank.
It's the wank factor. That is the story behind the cheese, so that when you turn up at a dinner party and you've got your little cheese board, you can actually tell a really cool story so that people are salivating about the cheese before they've even put it in their gobs.
See if they can impress your friends. I think that's ultimately the wang factor.
It is.
Yeah.
Impress everybody.
And I would know because I'm pretty wanky myself.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I have to sort of stop his wankiness, so that's why I butt in a lot. And the fourth,
which is the screw it factor. And 2 parts to the screw it factor. The first part, well, I'll speak for myself, Wendy. I'm lactose intolerant, so whatever cheese or whatever dairy that I put in my gut needs to be worth the pain, the gas, and the poo that will happen the next day. So, screw it.
So my screw it factor is the fact that I'm a middle-aged woman who has a gut, and when I eat too much cheese, it gets bigger. So I have to get on the treadmill. I have to run around like a mad thing. So my screw it factor is: am I prepared to have a giant chunk of this cheese and pay the consequences the next day? So they're both gut issues in different ways.
Yes. Mine's just a bit more unpleasant.
Now, I'm the granddaughter of a dairy farmer. I grew up around dairies. I love everything to do with cow's milk. I even enjoy goat's milk and buffalo milk and all the other milks.
All the milk.
But I'm a dairy girl from way back. So I absolutely love Australian cheese and what local cheesemakers are doing with local milk. This man has come from Singapore and loves cheese so much that he's busting through his lactose intolerance to set up a cheese business.
Correct.
So he's got cred here. He's got serious cred.
I came here. I started eating cheese quite late in life, about 10 years ago. I remember
when he was 5.
Well, my first cheese experience was buying the cheer cheese from the cheer cheese from the Servo and having it on GS crackers 10 years ago.
Well, you've got to start somewhere.
Look at where am I now?
Speaking of which, we're going to start right here today with a smoking episode. Today we're looking at smoked cheese, and we've got one from
the UK.
This is a UK smoked cheese.
Yes, a standard beautiful smoked cheddar from the UK.
And look, the Poms are pretty famous for their cheddars.
They are. We'll talk more about this. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Please, look, let's just start by smelling it.
Okay. Should we introduce the contender?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. So these guys look identical.
They look exactly the same, right? So the contender is boat shed cheese, the sun smoked cheddar from Dramana.
Ooh, so we're down on the Mornington Peninsula, where it's beautiful and green and gorgeous.
Made by the amazing Tamara Newing, who is now sold the business to a mother and daughter team called Sarah and Becky. So there you go. We will talk more about this in a bit. But first,
yeah, they're identical. They look exactly the same.
Exactly the same. They're both smoked cheddars. They're both rubbed in paprika. But there are several key differences about these two. And then I'll get back to you on that.
I'm already getting a bit of pong
Yeah.
here, but let's have a chunk here and have a good sniff.
Definitely smelling the... Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, this is the pong factor we're going for here.
You can smell the smoke. Not so much of a cheese though, I have to say. I smell a lot more of the smoke.
I'm getting the cheese and the smoke, but it's
I
it
smell more
smells mild.
Smoke. It smells mild.
It's a pretty low. It's not as low as a Dauphinois. I'd give this a 2 for pong factor.
I mean, look, if I'm talking about having a smoked cheddar, normally it should be a lot smokier, I feel. So I would give it about a 1 actually. I don't smell...
Actually, right, there's not a lot of smell there. It should be smoking. It should be smoking.
Yeah, correct.
Now, is this because it hasn't actually been smoked in a smoker?
Yes, that's right. Because this particular cheddar from Charnwood in the UK, they actually are flavored with smoke. So have you heard of liquid smoke before? Mm-hmm. So this is what happens. So they grab smoke flavor from a bottle and just rub it all over the cheese. So it's quite artificially smoked.
Okay.
That's the issue with it.
So smoke light.
Smoke light, yeah, correct. Yeah.
Going for the, it's
Full
like
smoke, full smoke.
the Marlboro lights.
Full smoke.
Okay.
All right, let's try some.
Now we're going for the funk factor, people. It's a nice texture.
Very creamy.
Big mouth.
Buttery.
Big
Very
flavour.
smoky. Salty.
Oh my God, yeah. I need a drink.
It's salty. I need a drink as well.
This is calling out for a big fat Trappist monk kind of beer to wash it down right now.
Wow.
Oh, hello.
There you go.
Horns going off out there. I'm not sure if you can hear that or not. Okay.
What do you think?
Funk factor, I give this a mid-range. It's like a 3 for me. I think because I'm not particularly enjoying the funk level in there. Like it's there. There's a lot of flavour.
I love flavor.
It's too salty.
I love funk, but it's all about the balance, isn't it? The balance is really off in that. It's the creaminess almost works against it. And I feel that despite not smelling the smoke, but there was a bang on big smoky flavor in my mouth, and I can still taste it.
Yeah.
And the salt is just really salty. I'm not a fan. I mean, I'll give it a 4 in terms of the funk, not because I enjoy it, just because it's just a lot happening. It's like a party in the mouth,
but it's also at the same time,
party.
funk is about stinking your fridge out and having to live with the consequences. And this isn't going to do that.
No, it's not going to do that. Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
There's no real smell. So funk in the mouth. There's a bit of a party, but way too salty and not very balanced. So finally,
the wank factor.
the wank factor.
Look, that does something for me.
I think that if there was anything to wank about, it would be the fact that it comes all the way from the UK, which is the birthplace of a great cheddar.
It is. Unfortunately, this is not it.
It's not.
Unfortunately. Yes.
It's not quite right.
Yeah, screw it. I mean, would you eat that again?
No, there's zero
Nah,
screw.
I wouldn't. I mean, yeah. Nah. Sorry, cheddar. No.
I'll just pop that there.
All right.
Okay, so now we're on to tell us all about this cheese.
All right, the boat shed sun smoke, right? From Germana. One of the biggest differences is that it is made using organic Jersey cow's milk.
Ooh, Jersey's my favourite. They've got the big eyes, they smile.
Beautiful, high fat content, super delicious, super creamy, yum. And also, this cheese is aged properly. So this is aged for 9 months. Right, versus that one, it's not aged for 9 months. The UK manufacturers actually uses a fast aging agent.
Oh, how did they do that?
So they put it in the cheese and it mimics the flavor of aged cheese.
Oh.
So it's a bit of a cheat there. That's how they produce a lot of that same type of
And
cheese.
it explains why it doesn't have any natural complexity in the mouth,
Yes,
right?
you're right. Yes, yes. And
cool.
also the other big difference is that this is actually smoked over applewood.
Oh, wow.
So you get the natural smokiness from the wood, organic milk, creamy, aged properly. So I hope, please try that. Oh, hold on, smell it first.
Let's do the Pong
The
factor.
Pong factor. See, the first whiff I find is quite natural smelling.
I get leather. I get a bit of,
I get cigar.
ooh,
Yeah, but not offensive. I mean,
like a fruity cigar. Like before it's been lit, when it has that beautiful fruity tobacco smell.
yeah. But again, it's not super strong in smell.
No.
What I'm realizing, which is quite strange, is that they're both not really strong in smell.
No, and you'd think so, both being smoked cheeses.
Yeah.
So the Pong factor's really
Sometimes
only
really low
a,
as well.
a one.
Yeah, one. Yeah, for sure. Let's try some.
Okay. Got paprika in my teeth. It's changing. It's like morphing in my mouth,
It's like a dance.
right? We need some hold music while we're chewing. It must be really boring watching us eat. I know you watch MasterChef, people
Yum.
eating, and
Yum.
they're all really cute and sexy
Yum.
when they eat. But
Yum. That is yum. It just melts in my mouth. It doesn't coat my palate in a really offensive way. The smokiness is beautiful. It comes through.
Yeah.
I get tanginess from that as well. From milk. It's buttery, like really buttery. No saltiness at all. I don't taste
No
any
salt.
salt. It was beautiful and tangy, but it just. And it lasts really long on my palate.
I'm still tasting it, and it's still evolving in my mouth. In fact, I love the fact that I get the flavour right down the sides of my tongue, and which is kind of different, almost a little bit metallic. Like it's got a bit of an acidic, metallic kind of zing to it in a good way, because a lot of cheeses are so alkaline that. You need that balance, you need that tang. The smoke comes through in a really delicate way. For anyone who isn't into smoked goods, you could almost ignore the fact that this is smoked, because it's so delicate. It's like being at a campfire with that little whiff of bush smoke. It's a beautiful
And what do you
cheese.
think with the paprika? Does it come true?
Oh, at first, that's the first. My mouth exploded with paprika, and I couldn't actually taste the cheese very well, right?
Yeah.
And then once the paprika settled down,
The tanginess has
Yeah.
come through, the butteriness come through. I love it. I mean, this is beautiful.
it's a really nice cheese. What would you have with this?
Have it this. A good red.
Yeah?
A good red.
I'd like an Italian variety bread, like something a little bit sort of peppery.
Woody. What, woody as well? Oaky? I would go something oaky.
You could look, actually, this would work with a buttery Chardonnay as well. Like you could actually
Alrighty.
cut through with a Riesling. Actually, there wouldn't be many drinks that you wouldn't put with this.
No.
Cider would go really
Cider,
well.
yes, cider.
A big Belgian style beer would go really well with this. And to be honest, how's the milk factor on this cheese?
This would ooze. This
Yeah.
would ooze and it would
Be
just
good.
melt really nicely in a toasty. Or, you know what? Put it in a casserole just to give that little bit of You know, something a bit smoky is always nice in a casserole. If not, it's just normally it's still one note, I feel.
Yeah, yeah.
If you just use one type of cheese. This would be a beautiful addition to any dish that you want to put in and melt.
We do love it, but we're forgetting about the wank.
The wank factor. Oh,
wank.
Yeah, the wank factor.
We forgot the wank, and how can
wank.
we forget that? We have a real... Oh, go away, fly. We have a real contender for a wanky cheese here, because it's not just made locally, it's made on the Mornington Peninsula, which is really, let's face it, one of the wankiest regions in the entire state. It's where a lot of wankers live. Sorry, people from Mornington Peninsula, but it's true. And this is all smoked over actual
Applewood, yes,
and
correct.
as opposed to this guy, which has smoke flavouring.
It's a bit of a cheat, isn't it?
It's like
a cheat.
it's totally cheating.
It's
and
cheating.
It's big factory stuff. We don't like that.
But we want artisanal produce, you know,
Yep.
organic as well.
Organic
Jersey cow.
Jersey cows, my favourite cows, because they've got the big eyes and they smile well. It's ticking all the boxes to me. And if I've got someone coming over and I'm presenting a beautiful cheese,
this, I think 4 to 5 wank factor for me.
It's got a pretty good wank factor.
It does. It's really impressive. I will be happy to have this with having gas the next day.
Yep.
Yes, 100%.
You put up with the gas.
I will put up
4
with
out of 5.
4 out of 5, 100% for sure. I will actually cook this in my toasty.
And then the great thing is, if you have leftovers, and let's face it, I never have cheese platter leftovers in my house. It's all smashed. But if you did have leftovers, this would be a great one to have because you could grate it into a macaroni cheese. You can many different things you could do with this. So it's got great longevity.
You know what would be really lovely?
I'd have to some more.
Or hit some more. If you grate this over like French onion soup, instead of Gruyere,
or make the little toasty bits to go on top with
yes,
it.
Yes. Or gojettes. Yum.
So there are so many things you can do with this.
Super good, yes.
And it's the cheese that keeps on keeping on.
Because
I can keep flavouring.
I'm still having as well.
So when you might only be able to have a little bit of cheese, like me, I try to only have a little bit of cheese and not inhale the whole wheel. This is a great cheese because it does give you, from that tiny, tiny little bit of cheese, huge value, big bang for your buck in your mouth, which gives it really high funk factor and really good wank factor.
Look, I mean, as a cheesemonger myself, I sell this cheese. People have asked me, Wendy, why, in terms of the price, why is this one a lot cheaper than this? And I think we've successfully explained it. This is a bit of a cheat. They use the easy way out, flavor with smoke.
Beginner smoke.
Beginner smoke. So now you understand why it is priced the way it is, because of all the love that has been put into this cheese. Is a lot more than I think that. Yeah, you reckon?
So that's the final category explained, right?
Yes,
the final category, which is
screw it.
Yeah, screw it. We're eating this one.
I will eat this for sure, 100%. And I'm not being biased, but you've tasted this for the first time today. So it's clearly the winner is this.
Yep. Woohoo. Well done, guys.
Well done.
And I didn't really mean that wanker comment about the Mornington Peninsula, but seriously, you really do have to take a little bit of a look at yourselves. Just a little. But on that note, it's fitting beautifully.
Like Brighton.
Now, we're talking cheese. We are the Cheese Hunters. We're coming at you every week with a new cheese to compare it against a really famous international cheese with lots and lots of cred internationally. Yes. We are here to show you how Australian cheese can be just as good, if not better, than the big boys that are coming to us from Europe. Now, we still love to eat these guys. There isn't a cheese I don't love eating, but let's see if we can support our local cheesemakers a little bit more and get behind them, even if they cost a little bit more, because usually it's because they're little guys that are working hard and it costs a lot more to make a small artisanal product.
And also, you do not get any government subsidy. A lot of the European cheesemakers get a lot of the cost subsidized by the government. So there's a big issue as well.
Lucky them.
Well, I think we're
good.
Look.
So thank you so much for joining us today on the Cheese Hunters. Yes. It's been our pleasure to be the crash test dummies eating cheese for you guys. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the places.
Yep.
Please send us any sort of questions you have or cheeses that you'd like us to try. Just get in touch.
Yep.
Happy to give anything a crack.
And we would love for you to join the Australian cheese movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a movement, isn't it?
It is a movement.
It is a movement.
Absolutely. So we'll be back again next week. Keep an eye on our social channels to let you know exactly when we'll be on air, but you never know where we're going to pop up, really.
We'll see.
So my name's Wendy Hargreaves.
My name is Hakim Halim.
Yeah, and we're the Cheese Hunters. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.
See ya, guys.